This is the money timeline.
What is the biggest fear in life? Do you know? Uncertainty. Not knowing what will happen tomorrow. Not being able to see the end of that big decision or that bold step you are about to take. Working day and night, yet never being sure if it will ever pay off. This feeling eats a man alive from the inside out. Most people see this uncertainty. They see this fog, and they run. They look for a safe little guaranteed harbor. They say, "This is my destiny, there is nothing I can do," and they surrender. They throw themselves into the arms of an ordinary life. But history does not write about those who sit quietly in their safe harbors. History writes about the rebels who tear their destiny apart with their own hands and walk straight into that uncertainty without blinking an eye. Who were these men? They were gamblers, monks, physicians, and painters. In the eyes of society, they were probably just madmen, but not a single one of them chose to run away. They tried to measure what everyone else called chaos. They calculated the mess in their minds, and they took control of that massive uncertainty through sheer discipline and mindset. This video is not just a dusty history story from the past. This video is proof of how a disciplined mind can rise up and dictate chaos in this brutal world, where everything feels out of control and tomorrow is invisible. Lean back, silence your excuses, and listen carefully. Because every single line here was written for your battlefield today. Part 1. Take the wheel. Become the master of your destiny. Let's turn back the clock. Let's go to 15th century Italy, to the birth of a massive shift in human mindset. Stand in front of the paintings of Piero della Francesca, and you will notice something incredible. Those invisible glowing halos that were drawn above holy figures for hundreds of years, they are gone. Their feet are bare, and they are planted firmly on the ground. They are no longer abstract symbols floating in the sky. They are real human beings with flesh, bones, and pain. This might look like a small detail in art, a simple painting technique, but it was actually the footsteps of a massive revolution in human consciousness. For centuries during the Middle Ages, people left their lives, their futures, and their destinies entirely to external forces. Whatever luck brought, whatever fate decided. But during that era, humanity woke up. They broke their chains, stood up, and shouted, "I am not an extra in this life. I am the master of my own destiny." An ancient rule that the old world forgot came back to life. A free and powerful man respects worldly struggles, but he never, ever kneels before them. Carve this sentence into your mind, because the foundation of the war we are fighting today is hidden right inside this rule. Now, look at yourself. If things are going wrong in your life today, if your business is a mess, if your plans are shattered, you cannot blame luck, fate, or anyone else. You will take the wheel. If you are afraid of that uncertainty, you will sit down and learn to dominate it with your mind. Part 2. Destroy your excuses, Even geniuses started from zero. Now, it is time to silence that weak voice inside your head. I don't have the talent. I don't understand this stuff. My brain doesn't work that way. It's too late for me. Throw all of these cheap excuses into the trash right now, this very second. Remember Luca Pacioli, born in 1445. His family was ordinary, and they wanted to prepare him for trade. But Pacioli rejected the limits. He took math lessons, attended philosophy seminars, and with his book published in 1494, he opened the principles of algebra to the public for the first time. Those unknown equations were no longer a hidden science. They became a power accessible to anyone who wanted it. And there is one of the greatest lessons in history hidden right here. Pacioli was close friends with the greatest genius of the era, Leonardo da Vinci. Today, when you open and read Da Vinci's original notebooks, what do you see written in his own handwriting? This exact note. Learn the multiplication of roots from Master Luca. This is not a joke. This is not an exaggeration. A basic arithmetic operation that you could put in front of a middle school child today was a struggle for the great Leonardo da Vinci. The genius who changed the world was stuck at the absolute foundation of math. But what did da Vinci do? Did he say, "My brain can't handle this," and drop his canvas and brush and run? No, he accepted his deficiency. He left his pride at the door. He went, sat in front of the man who knew the answer, and learned by scratching those notebooks. That is how he wrote his name in history. Do you feel inadequate, lacking, or weak in something today? Does the uncertainty ahead terrify you? Remember, even the greatest minds started at the absolute bottom, with the most primitive basics. What makes the difference is not how flawless your starting point is. What makes the difference is your determination to walk right over that deficiency and keep going. Part 3. The Hidden Order Inside Chaos. Now we come to the absolute wildest man of the story, Girolamo Cardano, 1500s, Milan. The man was a pure genius, the most famous physician of his time. Popes and kings spent fortunes just for a single piece of his advice. But Cardano had a dark, chaotic side. He was a reckless, obsessed gambler. He confessed in his own diaries, "For years, almost every single day, I threw dice, played cards, and played chess." His life was a complete swamp, a total tragedy. One of his sons was executed, and his other son robbed him and vanished. But Cardano refused to surrender, even inside the greatest chaos and deepest uncertainties of his life. He looked at those dice on the gambling table. For centuries, billions of people had thrown those dice. Everyone blamed bad luck when they lost, and thanked the gods when they won. No one ever questioned the hidden power on that table, or the logic behind that uncertainty. Cardano asked, "Is there an order behind this messy game?" He sat down and calculated every single probability on the gambling table. He pulled those foundational formulas out of that chaotic swamp. He proved to the entire world that underneath a game that looked like pure luck and uncertainty, there was actually a flawless mathematical order. Now listen to this story carefully and apply it to your own life. The mess in your life, the uncertainties in front of you, are not more chaotic than the dice on that gambling table. From the outside, everything might look shattered. It might feel like things are spinning out of control. But if you refuse to kneel before that chaos and instead stop to ask the right question, you will pull your own order, your own victory out of that mess. Part 4. Seeing what nobody else sees. Great discoveries and massive breakthroughs usually do not happen in laboratories. They come to people who look at the world with sharp, curious eyes in ordinary moments. Think about Galileo Galilei. In 1583, an ordinary, boring service was being held in the Cathedral of Pisa. Everyone in the church was praying, looking straight ahead. But Galileo's eyes were locked onto the ceiling. A massive lamp was swinging back and forth because of the wind. The lamp sometimes made very wide swings and sometimes slowed down into narrow arcs. Everyone else looked at that lamp as a regular object. But Galileo saw something nobody else noticed. No matter how wide or how narrow the arc was, the time it took for the lamp to go from one end to the other, the period of oscillation, was always exactly the same. Do you know what this simple, everyday observation changed? It laid the foundation for all modern clock technology. It took control of the uncertain flow of time and cut the margin of error down to almost zero. Years later, that same Galileo wrote scientific papers to solve the uncertainty and combinations in dice games. Why? Because he knew that from a swinging lamp on a ceiling to a dice on a table, everything holds a hidden order waiting to be discovered by a focused mind. Everyone looks, but only an obsessive eye sees the opportunity. That ordinary moment in your life, that uncertainty that everyone else stares at with blank eyes, might just be your golden ticket out. Part 5. Those who turn uncertainty into order. Now, it is time to look at the bigger picture. What was the massive force that melted all these names, Della Francesca, Pacioli, Da Vinci, Cardano, and Galileo, into a single mold? There is only one answer: the refusal to remain passive. They did not open their hands and wait for a miracle in the face of uncertainty and hardship. They did not retreat to their corners and cry. For the ancient world, the future was just a terrifying, unknown darkness. But these rebels walked into that darkness with a flashlight. They said, "Maybe there is an order hidden inside that uncertainty, and I am going to find it and pull it out." And do you know what happened at the end of that centuries-long struggle? Those little curiosities that once spun around dirty gambling tables and swung from cathedral ceilings turned into the massive systems, prediction models, and financial securities that run the world and ease our lives today. The massive systems that rule the modern world were born from the pure stubbornness of a few men who refused to surrender to uncertainty. Rule your own uncertainty. Now, close those pages and look at yourself. What are you afraid of? The risks that will show up when you make that decision? The fear of, what if I go broke? What if I run out of money? What if all my efforts go to waste? Nobody is going to give you a guarantee in this life. It wasn't given to Da Vinci, it wasn't given to Cardano, and it wasn't given to Galileo. None of them started their journey with a guaranteed contract of victory in their pockets. None of them set out saying, "I will definitely win." But they all did one thing exceptionally well. Instead of turning their backs and running away from uncertainty, they stared it in the eyes and walked right over it. They tried to understand it, and they conquered it with their minds. Uncertainty is not a monster you run away from. Uncertainty is a completely blank page where you will dictate your own direction, your own discipline, and your own intelligence to build your own order. The step you take today might look small to the outside world. It might look insignificant. But remember, massive revolutions usually start with a single eye looking at that swinging lamp with curiosity and stubbornness, while everyone else is blind to it. Now, stand straight in front of that uncertainty. Look it dead in the eyes and ask yourself this question. Am I going to surrender to this chaos, or am I going to build my own order? The choice is yours. If you are ready to become the master of your own destiny, show us that you are walking with us by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. What is the biggest uncertainty that is pushing you hard and terrifying you right now? Leave your comment below. Let's talk about it. In the next video, we will smash those walls together. Take care of yourself.
The money timeline.